Ukrainian FPV drones massacre a group of Russian infantry at night. More of Ukraine's first-person view drones see at night, thanks to tiny infrared sensors that see in the infrared part of the spectrum, and can detect the heat generated by a human body. There's a simple method to hide from these exploding night vision drones, however. Thermal blankets, which contain body heat, can help a wearer blend in with the cooler nighttime landscape. Consider recent thermal blanket failures along the 1,100-kilometer front line of Russia's 39-month wider war in Ukraine. On Wednesday night, a squad of Russian infantry moved toward positions held by the Ukrainian Army's 63rd Mechanized Brigade near the city of Lyman. The Russians all wore thermal blankets over their shoulders, but the blankets actually worked too well. The 63rd Mechanized Brigade's night vision FPV drones easily spotted the approaching Russians not by their heat, visible as bright spots on the drone's infrared sensors, but by their lack of heat, the cold spots among the surrounding foliage. A barrage of FPVs rained down on the Russians, who almost certainly couldn't see the lethal drones coming. The funny occupiers in the Lyman region put on anti-drone raincoats and thought that now they are safe. The 63rd Mechanized Brigade quipped. A photo apparently depicting the morning aftermath of the Wednesday night massacre revealed multiple impacts from FPVs and 5 or 6 discarded thermal blankets, some potentially concealing dead Russians. A second photo depicted 5 sprawled Russian bodies. The Russians assaulting Lyman chose the cheaper blankets and paid for it with their lives. Another Russian assault group had effective blankets, but wore them wrong. Their limbs and heads poked out, radiating detectable heat and drawing the attention of FPV drones. These Russians' mistake is understandable. Because a thermal blanket traps heat, it can be very uncomfortable, especially during the summer. Russian troops have been wearing thermal blankets for at least 2 years, but the blankets were rare early on. It is doubtful that the enemy can supply these anti-thermal blankets coats on a significant scale, Tatarigami. Even if they can only be utilized by small groups or sniper teams, they still pose a potential threat. With wider adoption, more Russians are undoubtedly hiding from Ukrainian drones. The Russian frustration grows bigger with every day due to the lack of advances, shortage of supplies, and a disastrous kill-to-loss ratio. This has forced Russian commanders to order even more desperate attacks, with Russian soldiers being turned into unintentional suicide bombers by essentially carrying explosive vests with them during assaults. In the Lyman direction, Russian forces have found themselves hopelessly stuck, unable to advance despite relentless infantry assaults. The repeated frontal attacks have become disastrously costly, leading to massive casualties at unprecedented rates. In addition, frontline Russian units are starved of supplies, making it impossible to sustain effective combat operations. In multiple engagements, Ukrainian drone operators have observed Russian soldiers being sent forward carrying individual mortar rounds to deliver to mortar crews on their way to the front, a desperate measure indicating a total logistical breakdown and highlighting the grim conditions Russian troops face in this sector. Geolocated video evidence has extensively documented how Russian forces continually get bogged down in front of Ukrainian defenses, immobilized by dense minefields, carefully placed caltrops, and relentless drone strikes. Ukrainian drone operators from the 63rd Mechanized Brigade have become exceptionally proficient at hunting down and neutralizing isolated Russian assault groups at night, with one crew eliminating 23 enemy soldiers in one night. Whenever Russian troops manage to briefly occupy new positions, swift Ukrainian counterattacks and drone bombardments immediately push them back or eliminate them. This cycle of attrition leaves Russian infantry units trapped in a futile loop of unsuccessful and deadly assaults. This extreme frustration has led Russian commanders and soldiers to adopt increasingly desperate and reckless methods. One striking phenomenon captured repeatedly in battlefield footage is the unintended emergence of kamikaze-like Russian soldiers. In a released video, a Russian soldier was running to assault Ukrainian positions with a grenade in his hand. But when Ukrainian troops met him with heavy fire, he began to retreat, fell on his grenade, and blew himself up. Instead of reconsidering their reckless tactics, the Russian command doubled down on the idea.